Weak men create tough times. Therefore, tough times create tough men. Tough men create easy times. Then again, easy times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. And this is a cycle.
People are just like controversial. They just want attention. And that's what social media is for. Just to get attention, short clips, controversial. People are going to judge you based off of that short clip.
You want to call yourself a woman? Go for it. God bless you, man. But do not go and tell the kids that are very easily brainwashed that a man can be a woman.
If a woman doesn't see you as a lead, she doesn't want to follow your lead. She doesn't see you as a fit leader. A man has authority over his woman, some sort of authority over his woman.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Driven Not Given podcast. And this is actually a new segment because I got my boy Jay here. Say what's up, Jay.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So Jay is my co-host because we're going to be doing a lot of these episodes, both of us talking about certain subjects, okay? So very smart guy. He's the owner of Video Cartel, serial entrepreneur, absolute champ. So anyways, we're going to get into Andrew Tate, brother. What do you think? What do you think of Andrew Tate, bro?
Oh man, this is very controversial, very polarizing. I think he has a lot. It's someone you definitely should listen to. At least listen to his opinions and his takes on everything. Even if you don't agree with it, maybe just listen to a different interpretation or a different perspective on all these subjects, on everything.
I agree. What's interesting about this guy, bro, is that, you know, and he mentions this often, we live in a world of TikTok, right, and reels and short clips. And people's attention span right now is the worst that has ever been in the history of mankind, right? Because, you know, people want to look at a 15-second video. A 1 minute video is even too long. 15-second video, boom, boom, boom. And they decide, okay, next. And it's actually not good for people, just in general, in my opinion, and it seems to be his opinion as well. And the problem with that, too, is that he's gone viral. He's been the most famous man in the world, the most Googled man in the last couple of months. But a lot of stuff is taken out of context. So I want us to get into why I think that he got banned. And another thing is he good or not? We're also going to take a look at some of the things that he says. I will say this, Jay, and for the people listening, I don't agree with everything he says. However, I personally agree with about 85 to 90% of what he says. He's speaking a lot of truth. I personally think that the reason why he got banned is because he's frankly a threat, right, to the establishment, a threat to the government, a threat to what the agendas, plural, to the agendas that are trying to get pushed. So what do you think? So let's start with that. Why do you think he got banned?
Well, number one, and we were talking about this off air, freedom of speech is out the window.
Yeah.
The government, like anybody, you know, people in charge, right?
Yep.
There's no more freedom of speech, right? And they're definitely up to something. They definitely want to control the narrative.
Yes.
So I think that's number one. Number two, he's just against it. So anyone against the narrative, like the Matrix, as he puts it, that they're gonna try to ban you, you know, cancel you, anything. And obviously, you know, the amount of people that liked him, he just had a strong following. He was a person of influence. He's teaching younger people, you know, to think for themselves. A lot of stuff that he said, like you said, in short context, it was taken out of context.
Yes.
Anything that, you know, if you look at the full video of the little clips, it's not. People are just like controversial. They just want attention. And that's what social media is for. Just to get attention, short clips, controversial. People are going to judge you based off of that short clip.
Right.
Instead of paying attention to the whole thing. So that's why I feel people should pay attention to him.
Yeah, because people, the media is going to put out, think about it, man. If you're having a conversation, or let's say an argument with your girlfriend, right? And it's a 15-minute conversation, argument, right? Whether it's you or your girlfriend, any couple of clips could get taken and put together and get taken out of context. And they make you look like the good guy or you look like the bad guy. Just the way that it's portrayed. And this is what people, here's one of the things that he talks about. This is one of the things that I talk about. You know this, and you too. People don't think for themselves. We don't have free thinkers anymore. People are being taught to be followers. You know what I mean? Men are being taught to be weak, to be feminized, right? And so that's some of the things that he talks about. And one of the things that he gets into, which again, we're going to watch some of these clips here shortly, but one of the things that he talks about that he says, listen, my audience is a bunch of young men, 18 to 35-year-olds, let's say, for example, right? But especially those 18, 17, 16-year-old, one day they're going to become men. They're going to become strong. And if we get them to believe in themselves, we get them to believe that they can accomplish things, to become physically strong, to become mentally strong, to think for themselves. This is a threat to the establishment, which is absolutely true. When you look at people, for example, going to the more, I say this all the time, the more schooling, the more university, indoctrination camps, as I call them, the more indoctrination camps they are, guess what they end up believing? There's a left and there's a right. The more schooling that people go to, they start to believe they have leftist beliefs, and sometimes radical leftist beliefs, right? Like the government owes them a living, like, the victim mentality, and a lot of this stuff, which a lot of us know, it's socialism that's being pushed into this country. Unfortunately, it's very advanced. I think that there's still a chance that it could get fixed a little bit, right? But who controls the media? All social media platforms, right? Mainstream media. Who controls, everything from Twitter to YouTube to everything?
Uber too.
Uber. Because he got banned from Uber.
Exactly. Why?
Yes. Well,
and all at once, bro?
All at once.
All at once makes you wonder what's going on. What's really happening.
Right. Yeah. They're really trying to screw with them.
Yeah.
And so who controls that? These people, the left, right? The government, which is really the left. Here's the thing, though. If you go out there and you talk about pro-transgender, you got a 10-year-old that wants to chop his, off, go for it. Oh, that 10-year-old wants to chop his dick off. Boom, go for it. Let's make sure we blur some of these words. So he wants to chop it off, no problem. You talk about that all day, man. You're not going to get banned. You imagine, like in California, the governor of California just said, it just came out that they passed a law that if a kid could get taken away from his family, if that kid wants to participate in transgender, surgeries and stuff like that, and the parents don't let him, he can be taken from the family. What kind of bullshit and what kind of moron puts people like that in office? Yes, you talk about that stuff, you're good. Think about it. Anything that's against the left. If you say, hey, man, I just got my 57th booster. Boom. I'm boosted and suited. Right?
You're good.
You're good.
You're good.
But let's say, for example, you talk about the secret juice like I did. Hey, listen, man. I'm not for experimental secret juice, right? That is not proven. I got a doctor friend, natural doctor, that says that ivermectin is great. Oh, ivermectin has been good the entire time. Guess what? You're going to get banned. That video is going to get shut down, and they're going to deem it that they're going to tell the pharmacies that they can't give you ivermectin. Yet my mom, myself, and a bunch of people that we know, we took that stuff, and guess what? We were significantly better, significantly faster. But even doctors that talk about that, they get banned.
What?
They get shut down. Yeah, bro. So think about it. The only people that are getting banned are people that are talking against stuff against the left.
Yeah.
Transgender, pro-jabs, right? Everything like that, pro-lockdowns, you're good. You talk about those things. Yeah. But if you think for yourself and you start to think, this shit doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. And you talk against it, they're going to ban you. Now, if you don't have influence or not. But Andrew Tate, let's say his videos were getting 300 views, he's good. But when they start getting tens of thousands, millions of views,
3 million
that
views,
guy's too dangerous. And I think that they shut him down in his infancy.
Yeah.
Because if he would have got bigger, he would have been harder to shut down. What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, like I said, anything that's against what the government wants us to think, people are going to get banned.
Exactly.
And I didn't even know that about the whole the bill that just passed that you said. That's real.
That's real, bro.
Wow,
that's real.
That's ridiculous, bro. I hate that.
It's ridiculous, and it's sad because you got states like California, states like New York, and stuff like that. And what's unfortunate is this, not to get political so much, but people vote these stupid laws, these stupid people, and these stupid laws here. For example, why do you think crime is up high in California, especially in some of these states, some of these blue states? The reason why is because they say, oh, God, there's home invasions are going up. Robberies are going up. At Rodell Drive, people are getting hit up in broad daylight. Right? Why? Because new laws that got passed by who? By the left or the right? By the left. And all of a sudden, Oh, yeah, you go ahead and rob somebody, man. We're going to, let you out, no bail, no problem, boom, boom, boom. Why do you think it's going up? And people don't realize, why? Because people don't think for themselves. People are programmed through television programming, television programming. It's a weapon, and they're being programmed that, hey, listen, you obey. You be a good, obedient servant. You don't question the master. Oh, you want to think for yourself? No, that's bullshit. And let me tell you something that I didn't plan on talking about in this podcast. This kind of stuff I'm going to talk on Rumble because it'll get shut down here. But I'm going to briefly talk about it here. So watch this. There's a guy that is the advisor to Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab, one of the worst people in history, is my opinion. Also to Barack Obama, also to Bill Gates. People like Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab talk about this guy. They talk about his books. What is he saying? I don't care if you believe in God or not. What people believe, I respect people's beliefs. All I'm saying is don't try to impose your beliefs on me and don't try to force me to do things that you're doing with your beliefs, right? But the point is, he says this. He says, free will, that's history. That's a thing of the past. Now, human beings are hackable animals. That's what this guy says. His name is, interestingly enough, his middle name, I think, is Noah. I forget his name. We'll put that, that name here. But he talks about, he says, free will, that's a thing in the past. People think that free will and about God give you free will. That's not true. That's a myth. That's the thing in the past. So the guy's an atheist, right? And but he says humans are hackable humans are hackable animals. And now we have the ability on a mass scale to hack human beings and manipulate how they think. Now, I'm not going to tell you why, but I will say this. Why do they believe that on a mass scale, they can manipulate people's thinking? It happened in the last 2 years. Something around the world that people took, masses amount of people took in the last 2 years since 2020 around the world. I won't mention what it is, but if you have a little bit of common sense, what is it that people lined up and said, hey, man, people don't realize the technology that is going into these things, man. And there's a video of Bill Gates, who was the first person that was promoting these kind of things, right? In the beginning, it was Bill Gates, but he got so much negative feedback, right, that all of a sudden he got taken out because they said, hey, man, people don't like you. Yeah. So check this out. There's an interview, it's on Rumble, where he was talking to the CIA and he was saying how these things back then, this is way before 2020, can impact a certain part of the brain that makes people radical. So it could remove that part of the brain, which is what makes people radical for the good or the bad, is their belief in a higher being, right? So they talk about terrorists, right? And they do these terrorist acts because they believe in their religion that that's what they should be doing. So when they take this thing, it shuts that part of the brain down. And they can be manipulated. That was like 15, 20 years ago, bro. And what happened in the last 2 years that the whole world took? And now this guy, who's an advisor to all these people, the point is, because I'm kind of getting away from the subject a little bit, but that's some of the things that he talks about. People don't think for themselves, and people just look at mainstream media. I personally believe less than 2% of what the government says is true. 9/11 was bullshit, right? What happened in the last 2 years was, for the most part, bullshit, right? It was real. It was dangerous. Was it as dangerous as they said? The amount of deaths that came from it, was that the truth? That wasn't the truth. That was proven wrong. They were saying things like ivermectin is not good. The sun is not good. No, the sun is actually good for you. It's been proven. Doctors came out and say, if you're sick, getting sun is good. And you need 15 minutes of sun a day. And what were they doing? Locking people in. And so anyways, a lot of what he's saying is a lot of truth. And he started getting so much traction. So many people that say, hey, this guy's talking about the truth, they ended up banning him. But they don't ban him for that. They ban him for saying, oh, he's a womanizer. He's a, what are some of the terms that they call them?
Sexist, womanizer, just, he's against feminism and stuff. I want to go back to what you were saying. Logan Paul. Yeah. He was talking about Logan Paul, how he's like a puppet, or like how he's being controlled and manipulated. 100%. Right? So you think that as well?
100%. Yeah. Look, I was watching Andrew Tate's interview with, Valuetainment with Patrick Bet-David. Big fan of. Shout out to Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment. and he was mentioning how Logan Paul was a fan of his, messaging him and whatnot. And now he's talking shit. And the reason why is because he got shut down before. I mean, fucking Logan Paul. Who brings more value to the world? Logan Paul is an entertainer. He's willing to look stupid. You know, he'd be willing. Listen, I'm going to make a prediction. If he hasn't already, in the next 2-3 years, Logan Paul will dress like a woman. 100%. Just for funny shit, right? Look at NBA players, bro. NBA players now, look at the fashion that they're trying to push because kids look up to NBA players. Don't they come out dressing like women? They come out dressing like women. Some of these new outfits, why? Because they're trying to feminize boys. They're not trying. Think about it. Any society, which we're going to look at a video of Andrew Tate, where you weaken the man, you weaken the society, which is 100% true. Now they're making boys think that dressing like girls is a cool thing. It's normal. And who does that? People with influence, people like NBA players. And I guarantee you that fucking, I predict that Logan Paul in the next 2 to 3 years will fucking dress like a woman, right? Or like super feminine, right? Right around that age. And the reason why is when it comes to Logan, yeah, man, he's just, if I have to pick, who do I want to listen to? Who would I want my kids to listen to? Tate. I'm not saying that there's things that I agree with. For example, being a Christian man, and I cuss. I mean, I'm a sinner. One of the things about being a Christian man is that, I mean, I admit where my shortcomings are, but I cuss and I sin in different ways. But the point is, I personally am a one-woman man. I'm married to my wife. I love my wife, and I do believe that one can be a one-woman man. Is it hard? Was it hard for me, especially in the beginning? It was very hard because I used to be a player. I used to have a lot of girls and whatnot. And I took pride in it. I also had a lot of pride, which is something that I'm working towards. So I don't agree with him in that. I also don't agree in fairness. I also don't agree.
You heard what he said though about with Patrick?
Yes.
He said, because he brought that up. He was like one of the things he said was, men can have 5 wives or something like that, and the women can't. We have 5 husbands or something. So he had Patrick addressed that, and he was. I think what it was is he was joking. He jokingly said it, but he was saying that he controlled, like when you emotionally control somebody, you have power over them.
Yes.
That's why a lot of the stuff he says is controversial and that's why people attack him. And get emotional, and that's how he's able to control. That's why people don't like him. But that's what he said. I don't really think he has 5 different girlfriends or wives or whatever, but I think he just says things like that just to
Well, I've seen him on the Fresh and Fit podcast quite a bit, right? And I've seen the long format videos, and I'm not judging the guy for this. Here's the thing, though. I used to be single, and I used to have not wives, but different women that I would date simultaneously. That's just a reality of what it was. I'm not judging him because he would clearly say, yes, I've got a woman and she's here and I take care of her and she accepts me for who I am. He's open about it, and the woman accepts it. Are there women that accept that? Yes, I've experienced that before in the past, where a woman was okay with me dating different women. Not all were, but some were, right? So I understand that. What I am saying, though, is, for example, he on a couple occasions, he uses the word bitch to talk about a woman. I don't agree with that either. I have a mom. I have 2 boys. I don't have a daughter, but I still act as if I had a daughter because I would want my daughter to see what is acceptable for her to accept. I don't want her to accept a man talking down to her in that manner. She needs to make sure that she's respected, that she demands respect, but also gives respect. I also teach my boys through the way that I treat my wife, not to say we don't argue, of course we do, but the way I treat my wife, I want my 2 sons to see, hey man, my father is a manly man. He works out. He can kick some ass. He can break jaws and break hearts, right? And at the same time, though, he takes care of us. He spends time with us. He works. We don't need for anything. We take vacations. We eat at the nice places. Why? Because my dad sacrificed, worked his ass off, provided enough, thank God, for my mom to be at home and take care of us. And my mom held it down at home. She cleans the house, takes care of us, nurtures us. Because there are roles that men play and there's roles that women play. And all of this bullshit, and he talks about this, all of this bullshit of, women rights and all this bullshit, there are women rights, man. And there are clear differences. When Daniel Alonso was here, we were talking about and this is a touchy subject for me because it gets me to realize how stupid too many people are, how they don't think for themselves. For example, I mentioned you could have a Pinto and you could have a brand new Ferrari. There's a clear difference between the two. Nobody's going to confuse a Ferrari with a Pinto. Yet there's more differences between a man and a woman. Yet people believe in this bullshit. Why? Because they've been groomed through school, indoctrination camps. Then, listen, the majority of people that believe in this transgender shit, right? Like, I get it. You want to call yourself a woman? Go for it. God bless you, man. Like, I'm not judging you. But do not go and tell the kids that are very easily brainwashed that a man can be a woman. No, that's bullshit. A man is a man. If he feels a certain way and he's attracted to a different sex, that's his prerogative. That's cool. But there is two freaking genders. Now, none of these people that push this shit believe in God. None of these people that believe this shit believe in God. Because God says, in the Bible says, God made man and he made woman. And it was good. What these people are saying is, no, it wasn't good. God was wrong. God was wrong. Because you were born a man, but if you decide, even worse, if you are a teenager, you know how many teenagers that did transgender shit are crying out videos? They don't make those videos go viral. The regret. They cut their stuff off, bro. And they regret. They're fucking killing kids, bro. How come a kid can't smoke or drink till they're 18 or 21?
Yeah.
But you're letting them cut their dicks off and you're letting 14, them do this shit and 13, There's this kid that came out, bro. Fucking heartbreaking. He comes out and says, hey, here's the deal, man. And he's crying, bawling his eyes because he was taking, vitamins, or not vitamins, but drugs.
Hormones?
For a hormone and to stop testosterone. Yeah. Now his penis doesn't grow.
Wow.
You imagine that shit? Like, and he realizes, even worse, those that cut it off. I mean, come on, bro. So some of this stuff that's happening, man, is just pure fucking evil. And I just tell people, hey, listen. And look at the people that are pushing it. They're all people that don't believe in God. Not only do they not believe in God, they're against God. And listen, I got plenty of friends that don't believe in God. God bless you, man. Even though you don't believe in God, whatever higher being you believe in, if any, I wish blessings upon your life. I'm not forcing but if you start to put the dots together, you realize all of these things that they're pushing are literally, the word evil doesn't do it justice. And for example, one of the things that Andrew Tate talks about is there's men and women. Let's say we're on a boat, he says. We're on a boat. That boat starts to have some holes in it, starts to sink. It needs to get fixed. The men will immediately, unconsciously, do what's in their DNA to what? Go fix a boat. Go do the fucking hard labor. Go do the dangerous job. The women will resort to doing what is in their nature, which is what? Go take care of the kids. Go comfort the kids. Go cook the food. Go do the stuff. Because that is inherently in their natures. This is the first generation that thinks it's too smart, that all of these thousands of years of evolution were wrong. What these people throughout history felt inherently what they should do, like the man should go out there and hunt and kill and provide the food and do the hard, dangerous shit, and the women should take care of the kids and do these things. They were wrong. This time they're trying to make it like, no. There's a clear difference. And there's benefits that women have that men do not, and attributes that they have that men do not. For example, my kids. I take good care of my kids. Who takes better care of my kids? My wife. I would argue that that's even better than what I can do. I could train them how to be tough. I could train them how to be men. I could train them how to work hard, how to be disciplined, right? And a lot of these things, and my wife trains them on a whole different set of things. Yeah. That's why.
And he says that too. He'd rather drop his kids off at an all women's nursery, daycare, instead of all male daycare. Yes. Right. Obviously, women know how to take care of kids in that sense better. That's one of the things that he says as well.
Exactly. So, like Maximus, right? I have a 1-year-old and an 8-year-old, right? Maximus is an 8-year-old, the great Maximus Rangel, and then you've got Alexander the Great Rangel, right? These are my two sons. When Maximus is with me, he does boy shit. He does strong shit. He gets hurt more. He jumps off of shit more. We wrestle. We've got mats in the garage, and we train kickboxing. And he does tough shit because there's a very real.
He does a great job, by the way. Those videos are awesome.
Appreciate it, brother. That was one of my goals before I even had kids. You know that. You've known me before I had kids. Yeah. But one of my things is that I learned a long time ago is this, and this is so true. And Tate talks about it. A lot of people that talk about this talk about it. If you weaken the men, the boys, you're gonna weaken society. And watch this. I forget the guy's name. He wrote an incredible book. And he passed away recently from cancer. Anyways, he says, weak men create tough times, right? Because they're fucking weak. They raise weak boys. They put bad examples. Another thing that what are they doing? They're dividing the family. Why do you think so many shows on Netflix, so many shows all over the place are about, an independent woman, I don't need no man, or about a couple that divorce and stuff and they're happily and they're being promiscuous and all this other shit. They keep putting that division. That's what the Bible talks about, the devil being, he divides.
Yeah.
He divides a family. If you divide the family, you weaken the family. And if you keep doing this division and division and division, guess what? Like, for example, you got people, minorities especially, right? You got minorities and I'll come back to the point about the societies. But for example, you got minorities. There's a lot more liquor stores. There's a lot more places to do abortions. There's a lot more gun stores in minority places, right?
Yeah.
You're single. You got a divorce. We'll give you a whole bunch of money. Well, ask him to give you a bunch of money and we'll support you like a motherfucker. But once you get back with them, the support goes down. Why? Because the system is created to weaken the family, because this is done, it's an attack from the inside. And most people are not fucking aware of this. This is some deep shit. We could go for 10 hours just on that subject alone and go through the evidence, go through the data. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. You can go through the data and you can realize, damn. But what are people doing? They're watching funny 16-second videos on TikTok, on Instagram. And shit, people aren't thinking for themselves, and but that's created that way. Why? If he talks about in China, you know what the videos that go viral are?
Yeah.
They're educational videos,
informational. Yeah.
Here, in America, what are the videos that go viral?
Girls twerking.
Girls twerking. People acting a fool. Funny shit.
Pranks,
stupid things.
Yeah.
People's IQ levels because of social media are fucking decreasing, and that is all by design. Even the World Economic Forum said that in the next 10 years, America will not be the dominant force. It's getting weakened and weakened and weakened. This is all by design, bro.
Yeah.
And so, people don't see that. But anyways, going back to the point of weak men create tough times. Therefore, tough times create tough men because there's no choice. You're a product of your environment.
Yeah.
Tough men create easy times. Then again, easy times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. And this is a cycle.
Yeah.
Right now, we are in the weak men phase. That's why the economy is shit. Look at leadership. Before 2020, where were gas prices? Where was the economy? Where were the jobs? Because there was a strong leadership. And I'm not even a big fan of that person, that last president, right? But one thing that he may have been controversial. He said some fucking mean tweets. People that are complaining about mean tweets then are complaining about high gas prices now, about the fucking economy, right? The same people that complain, because most people are snowflakes. And let me tell you something. If you're a snowflake, here's one thing that you have to know. The world is fucking tough. And that you better get ready, because the tough means heat, and the heat melts snowflakes. And that's why so many snowflakes right now are feeling the heat, because they're snowflakes. Nobody taught them. And you know why some of these people are snowflakes?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have a father figure, or they had a weak ass father figure that told them everything is okay. You should get a participation trophy just for participating. No, bullshit. You shouldn't have a participation trophy. There's first, second, and third. Okay? Anything else than that, you didn't fucking win.
Try harder.
You gotta go try harder. Try harder, come back, try again. That's what you gotta do. Right? So we have some weak ass men, bro.
Yeah, no. Horrible. I was gonna ask you too, going back to the the Paul brothers. What versus Andrew Tate? You know how he said Logan Paul, he would fight him for free. Who would win?
Logan Paul would get beat. I was gonna say smoked, but I want to be as authentic as possible. I don't know if he'd get smoked, because Andrew Tate is now if they fought in a kickboxing fight, I think. So I'm gonna answer this multiple ways. If they fought in a kickboxing fight, he'd get smoked. If they fought in a boxing fight, he'd get beat. If they fought in an MMA fight, he may win, because he has a wrestling background. Logan has a wrestling background.
Yeah, but you think he'd win in an
MMA fight? Yeah, because he'd take him down. He'd take him down. So that's where
he doesn't want to do that. Has he done that? I haven't even seen.
No, he hasn't done that, but I'm sure he will. He's now wrestling like in the WWE.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Look. In fairness, I don't dislike Logan Paul or Jake Paul. I like Jake Paul a little bit more, because he actually is a better fighter by far than his big brother. And that's not a knock on him. One of the brothers is going to be better. When I used to compete, I was better than my younger brother. However, and I have two younger brothers, but my younger brother, when we were brand new, he was just a better athlete than me. He was better than me. Mm-hmm. But the point is, in a boxing fight, Logan Paul would get beat. In a kickboxing fight, Logan Paul would get knocked out in 1 or 2 rounds. In an MMA fight, he may win because of his wrestling base. I don't hear much about Andrew Tate doing wrestling or jiu-jitsu. So I think on the stand-up combat, Andrew Tate would beat him.
Yeah.
I don't think Logan Paul would fight him for money. I think Logan Paul is all about money. Logan Paul is bought and sold. There's a video online, and there's people that I know that have told me they grew up at a place in Los Angeles, and there was a place where a bunch of influencers would stay, and they would do a lot of, let's just say, brujeria type of shit there. Yeah, bro. So a lot of here's the thing, bro. We live in a world where you could become an influencer and you can get paid big money, but you're bought. You know what they say? Soul. Yeah, you sold your soul. And listen, man, sellouts, yes. Now, that could be figuratively speaking, or that could be literal. I'm not saying that that's what Logan Paul did. I'm saying, this is what I've heard, that at that particular house, that things would happen. But if you ask me if that's what I think that actually happened, and if I had to choose yes or no, I would choose yes. But I don't know, right? But I do think that he can be bought and sold. He does shit for being funny, and And Andrew Tate wants his message to go out and help people. Like, he talks about mental health. You were talking about that.
Yeah. He's a mental health advocate. So right. I love that about him, because there's a lot of things, especially, I mean, I'm sure you've gone through this yourself, coming up from where you started to where you're at now.
Yeah.
Me, I'm experiencing a lot of, there's a lot of things with my mental health that I try to sharpen my mental skills and try to be better, try not to act emotionally and stuff. And he's an advocate for mental health. So that's what I love about him, is that he tells it how it is. He's tough, like tough love. Like he did mention this, and let me know your thoughts on this. He was saying that the people who go to therapy are bitches. Like he said, like, you stop being a bitch. Like you got to just deal with it. Now, there was this clip on TikTok where this guy and his mom he sat her down to watch that clip. She's like in her 50s, right? She agrees with him. She agreed that, you just got to handle life. You just got to run with it. Yep. You can't. She agreed with that. What do you think about that? Like when he says therapy, that. I
do think that for the most part, I think therapy has its place. I also think that a lot of times it's just pushed, because here's one thing that happens a lot with doctors and with, therapy, especially when it's done through the traditional system. Yep. Well, yeah, you're depressed. Let me give you this antidepressant. Let me give you this drug. Let me give you this drug. Let me give you this drug. Big pharma. It's all a big fucking business. You know who said it best? Chris Rock, and I think it was 1994. I'm dating myself. 1994, he had a special. He says, the government and doctors, they're just a bunch of effing drug dealers, right? That's all they are. They don't know how to cure shit. They're mad of all the money they lost by curing polio. He says, if you think about it, for example, Magic Johnson, if it was, is his name Earl Magic Johnson?
I'm not sure.
Irvin. If his name was Irvin, the bus driver Johnson, he'd be dead. But his name is Irvin Magic Johnson, the legendary Lakers player. That's why he's alive. He says they have a cure for HIV, but they don't have a cure for your ass, because your ass is regular. Your ass is poor. But if that motherfucker was an average Joe, Irvin, the bus driver Johnson, he'd be dead decades ago.
Yeah.
They don't know how to cure shit.
Yeah.
They, quote unquote, they don't know how to cure anything. They know how to let you live with it. Oh, you got this pain, you got this problem. Let's give you this drug. Oh, you got cancer. Let's give you this drug. Let's give you chemo. Boom, boom, boom. But why do you think some of these elites, how come they never die from shit like that? They don't know how to cure anything. All they know is how to prescribe a drug, because there's no money in the cure. The money's in the comeback. And it's just, and then guess what? They give you this and it fucks you up here. Then you come back to, hey, doc, check this out. This is a little bit better, but now my ribs are messed up. My kidneys are messed up. Right? Oh, let me give you a drug for this. Now that messes you up somewhere else. And before you know it, you got people that are just popping pills. And even worse, they're addicted to them. You know what they give college students? What is that stuff for thinking, for focus?
Adderall.
Adderall, right? Adderall's banned in a bunch of countries, but they give it here like nothing. And that becomes a norm. Why? Because they want to keep people dumb and controlled. And there's no money in any cure. There's money's in the cutback. Now, if you got to, listen, man, let's say you were a doctor and you came out and you said, I got the proven cure for cancer. My brother, myself, here's a documented videos of what I took, and look at the change in my body and look at the studies. You will end up canceled or you'll end up dead. One of the things that Andrew Tate said on the Valley Tate podcast, he says, I'm not trying to go to war with anybody because I don't want to end up suicide, he said.
Yeah, he's not going to kill himself.
Exactly. He said, I don't want to end up suicide. That means, that's a funny term. For those people that don't know, that means like there's a lot of people that committed quote unquote suicide that they didn't commit quote unquote suicide. He said it many times. I would never kill, like me, I'm saying it right now, I'm documenting this shit. I would never kill myself. Never under no circumstance. Huh?
I am not suicidal.
Exactly. I am not suicidal. I would never do that.
No.
Now, I'm not worried about it. My show doesn't get a ton of views like his does. Right. But if one day it does, guess what? I ain't the guy that would ever do that. So if that ever happened to me, man, it's because God called me home and he allowed some of these people to take my life early. It is what it is. But so he said, I don't want to get suicide. That means he knows, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these people, they didn't get killed. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, they got killed. They didn't commit suicide.
Yeah, he said also he got an email from this guy that said he was going to kill himself. He wasn't happy and he was, going to commit suicide and just kill himself. So he replied to him and he told him, he said, my best guess is you're probably not in the best shape.
Yep.
Promise me you're going to go to the gym and get a 6-pack first.
Yep.
And so they were exchanging whatever. And he said, yeah, like, if you still feel like committing suicide, that's, I'm not telling you to do it, but this is what I'm asking you to do.
Yes.
Go to the gym and get a 6-pack. And then later on, he would send him progress pics. And he sent him a like long emails like, I'm sorry, like, thank you for saving me my life. It changed. I'm better now and this and that. So, I mean, would Logan Paul have done that? That's what he said. Like,
hell no. No, he would. I would see Jake Paul doing that before Logan Paul. But I don't know Logan, right? Maybe he would have, right?
And you know what he said about Logan Paul and Jake Paul?
What?
So I guess I didn't even know this. KSI is Logan's best friend, right?
I didn't know they're best friends. I heard that.
That's what he said. He said that they're best friends. So so they asked him in a fight with Jake Paul and KSI, who would win. They asked Logan. Logan was like wishy-washy, right? Well, he talks about how him and Tristan are, his brothers. They're like this. He'll have his brothers back any day, against whoever it is. Yeah, and that's how messed up things are with these guys. Is that they want to? They're not even that tight.
Yep.
They're not even that close.
You gotta be. If it's your brother, you gotta be rotted out. Even if you think he'll get knocked 100%. Out, my brother's gonna knock him out. You believe. One of the things about leadership is you believe in others more than they believe in themselves. But Jake Paul, my opinion is Jake Paul would beat KSI. Because KSI's been inactive, and he's taking it very seriously. Right, I respect going to Jake right now. I respect him taking the fight with Anderson Silva. That's a real fucking fight, and he's a better fighter than this guy. But anyways, yeah, it surprises me that that this guy's wishy-washy on who would win.
Yeah,
in my opinion, Jake Paul would beat him.
Whack.
And but yeah, no, it's crazy.
Whack.
But one of the things he mentions is, and we're gonna watch that video on this, on something similar to what he said, is about mental health, and he tells a guy, go out there and work on yourself, basically. And I think that a lot of people, because I've been in places where I wasn't the happiest, maybe a little bit depressed, but also being happy and sad is a state of mind. 100% being happy and sad is a state of mind. For example, let's say you take a person, 30 years old, flat broke, no money in the bank, just got out of jail and got his license revoked, nowhere to live. But that person 2 years ago was making $100,000 a year at his job, comfy job.
Yeah.
He got a DUI and everything spiraled downward. Now he's 30 years old, no job, no apartment, no place to stay, right? Flat broke, no license. That person can very well be depressed. Check this out. Let's say he had a twin brother. That twin brother in Africa, right? Let's say these are some African dudes. African guy comes down, makes it to this country. Miraculously makes it to this country. Was over there working in some mines or something, right? Comes over here, 30 years old, no license, doesn't even speak the language. You know what I mean? Fucking, and if he learns, he's gonna have a big ass accent. Same scenario as this fucking guy. Illegal, not even supposed to be in the country. That guy would be happy as shit. Worse circumstances, all the same things that the guy A has, and worse, but he's happy as shit.
Yeah.
And the other guy is fucking depressed because being happy and sad is a state of mind. It's all about perspective, right? I know that I've been at a point where I had my driver's license revoked. Somebody stole my identity. Check this out. I went and took a friend of mine to Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
Right? He's a Marine. He was a Marine. And then I took him to Camp Pendleton and I pumped gas inside of Camp Pendleton and I put my wallet on top of my car. I ended up driving off, wallet fell. Somebody got my wallet, stole my identity. Before I knew it, I get pulled over one day, months later, right? Say, hey man, you got a warrant for your arrest. What? Yeah, you got a warrant for your arrest, man. You got a bunch of unpaid tickets. So what are you talking about, man? I never got no unpaid tickets. Yup. I end up in jail. Somebody stole my identity, got tickets under my name, never paid them. I end up in jail. Almost ended up deported.
You don't have your papers back then?
Huh?
At this time, you didn't have your papers?
I was in the process of getting my stuff done, right?
Did that slow you down?
You can't be in the process. It did slow me down. You can't be in the process of doing that shit and be getting in trouble. Even though I didn't get in trouble, but according to the system, it was me that got in trouble, right? I ended up in jail. I remember getting out, having no license, no money, trying to figure things out as an entrepreneur. Now I'm driving around without a license to work, to try to get things done.
Yeah.
Then I said, hey man, these are the cards that were dealt to me.
Yeah.
And one of my friends told me, listen, man, in 5 years or less, you could drastically change your life. You got to make things work. And I coined the phrase, matter of fact, a couple of years ago that I came up with. I copied Dustin Poirier a little bit. And I said, it takes half a decade to make life fair. You could feel that life is not fair, but in half a decade with discipline, because here's the deal. Discipline trumps motivation. Fuck motivation. Discipline trumps motivation because discipline is going to get you to do the shit that you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it, when it's uncomfortable, because how you feel has nothing to do with what you're going to do. You say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. I feel like shit. I'm still going to do it. Why? Because I'm disciplined. But motivation fades.
Yeah.
Just like being interested or being committed.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Most people are interested in success, and I tell my sales organization this. You're interested in success, but you're not committed to success because you're interested in success. That means that you're going to go out there, and guess what? You're going to do things when it's convenient because you're merely interested. But if you're committed, you're going to do them regardless. So when it comes to this topic that we're talking about here it's true. When people start to work on their physique, Earl Nightingale says, success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. One of the best books, I recommend everybody listen to it 10 times. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. He says, success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. You are the happiest. I am the happiest. You are the happiest when we are creating. Even if you have a new baby and you create, or a kid, and you build a toy for them. For example, my son, a couple years ago, my nieces were over, and they asked me to build this thing. It was like a cash register. So you need tools and everything to build this thing, right? And I'm watching the fights. And then the three kids, my two nieces and my son Maximus, come to me and say, Daddy, could you build this for us? Could you build this for us? And I'm like, damn, son. Good thing I could pause the fights, right? And I was like, I guess this will take me 45 minutes to an hour tops. I guess I could just boom, boom, boom. They're going to be busy for a couple hours. I could watch the fights.
Yeah.
Sounds good, son. So I'm building it. Took me 2.5 hours to build it. Now 45 minutes to an hour. It took me 2.5 hours to build it. And I realized I'm already in too deep. I might as well just finish it. I was trying to hurry. But I remember the feeling of accomplishment as I see this thing coming together. It's very complex. It has two. Then it's got like the thing, you know, where you put the stuff at the grocery store and it moves forward. And it's got like a little lever to move it forward and whatnot. Yeah. I feel good creating this for my kid and my nieces. And as I see it come together, when I used to draw, like I'm an artist, I know how to draw fairly well. I remember taking a picture of the blank canvas, blank paper. And then take pictures as it's progressing. And you feel so good coming together. You're putting a painting together. You're building something. You build yourself. Most people, though, that are unhappy is because they're not progressing in any area of their life. They never had the discipline to even go out there and set a goal and go after the goal. And so not only that, it doesn't fucking help that society tells them, you're depressed. You should take this and then make that a normal thing. I remember I grew up and my karate teacher said, hey man, you lost that tournament. You know why you lost that tournament? Why? You lost to a cheeseburger. That's what we used to call guys that weren't that good. Because you didn't train hard. And guess what? That is your fault. And he would laugh. He would laugh. He says, maybe you should start taking training more seriously. And we trained fucking hard, by the way. We were world champions. I was a world champion. School was a 6-time world champion. I won a world title at 18 because of him, right? And I didn't have somebody babying me. Somebody said, it's okay, son. You know, they cheated you, blah, blah, blah. Even if they cheated you, I got cheated for a world title. I would have had 2 world titles. I won 1. Even if they had cheated me, guess what? If I knock the dude out, let's say you're talking about a kickboxing fight or something, you knock the dude out, they can't cheat you. If the judges are going to cheat you, what are they going to cheat you? No, you didn't really knock him out. The guy's unconscious. No, bullshit. So I think a lot of people are not content, not happy with their life. You know why? Because they're not working towards a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And I'll tell you this other story here. I'm going to say that this is a fictitious story, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy who's accomplished, married, kids, business, successful, right? Happy, content, progressing in life.
Yeah.
Who has an assistant. The assistant is nearly 60 years old, not happy with his or her life. I won't mention if it's a man or a female. Okay, man or woman. Almost 60 years old, no kids, not progressing in life, right? Unhappy, sees this person's success, who this is a story of a friend of mine, gave this person a job when they didn't have a job, trained them, helped them, and instead of this person being grateful, you know what they are? They're jealous. Then one day accuses this man of a bunch of bullshit that were not true by any means, and everything is documented 100%, which also not very smart, right? The point is, hurt people hurt people. In that story that I'm mentioning to you, okay, this guy helped this person a tremendous amount. Helped this person make more money than they've ever made. But this person started to realize how much money this person was making, how much love and support he was getting from other people, and this person didn't have that. This person had a family and kids. This person was 60 years old with no family and kids, no love.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're jealous of these people. Same thing with men. One of the things that Andrew Tate talks about very often, he says, the most dangerous men are weak men. Think about it. If a man is going to go out there and stalk an ex, for example, it's probably not a man that has a lot of options. It's probably not a man that's very confident in himself. It's probably not a man that's very accomplished, right? Those are the most dangerous men. As a matter of fact, I want to show this clip of Andrew Tate where he talks about discipline. There's a couple of tapes that I want us to see, and we're getting into these clips a little bit late in the podcast, but I want us to look at some of these things that he says and analyze what he says, and I want your feedback on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Andrew, so how do I get like a 6-pack quick? What's the fastest way to get a 6-pack?
Why does it have to be quick? Why does it have to be easy? Why do you think life is all quick and easy? Why can't it be hard and difficult? Why can't you suffer? Because suffering is what gives it value. If everyone had a 6-pack and it was quick and easy, then it wouldn't be valuable, would it? If everyone walked around with a 6-pack and they got it easily, then no one would give a shit. The whole point is that it's difficult to get. Value is linked to difficulty. If you want something that is valuable, you need something which is difficult to obtain. You shouldn't be thinking about quick and easy. You should be thinking about hard, suffering, pain, going through it. That's what you should be thinking about. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when it is done, then everyone's going to know that I went through something difficult. Why do you want it to be quick and easy?
So that clip right there, Jay, do you agree with him or not?
Yeah. Why should anything be easy?
Right.
I mean, for example, my business, it's been a hard road, and a lot of ups and downs. I learned a lot, and but it really hasn't been easy, but it's definitely been worth it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
And we get to work together. I love hearing your stories. All my clients that I have, it's a really good, to me, I love it.
Yeah.
It's just, why should anything be easy? Anything worthwhile?
Yep.
It's going to be hard. It's going to take time to get. So yeah, I love that. That's good.
I love it too, man. And one of the things I tell people is this: listen, quit wanting what you don't want. You don't want it to be easy. If, as he said, it's very simple. We've heard it a million times. If it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's true. But people live in a microwave society, right? They don't have Instagram reels and short clips on TikTok and microwave mentality, man. You're looking at the microwave, man, how come this thing is not fast enough? It's going to be hard. It has to be hard. While we live in this world, in this universe, guess what? This is the way that things are. The problem is that too many people, they just, again, going back to the discipline side, they don't have the discipline. They're not willing to do it. That's why the kid asks, what's the fastest way to get it? He tells them, why is it got to be easy? Why is it got to be fast? success is linked to difficulty. And I think once people ingrain that as a philosophy in their mind, that listen, it's going to be hard. Am I willing to pay that price? Is the juice worth the squeeze? I'm here to tell you, man, the juice is worth the squeeze. Figure it out. You're going to fail a lot more than you're going to succeed. That's why when you do succeed, it's going to feel that much better, right? Here's another clip that I wanted to look at and give our thoughts on this as well.
Does the news really care about you more than your family? This is a genuine question. You need to analyze every belief you hold, where it came from, and then analyze what their intentions are. And if you start to do that, you look at something like COVID, for example, it's an easy one. And you look at all the bullshit they were saying, and you sit here and go, wait, these people don't care about me. If I had diabetes or I needed insulin, or if I had cancer, or if I got in a car crash, anything, they'd be hitting me with medical bills I could never possibly afford. They'd let me die. But they are insisting I take this shot for free, on repeat. This doesn't make sense. And when you encourage people to think for themselves, especially the youth, that's what Socrates got accused of. He's corrupting the youth. And to be honest with you, a huge portion of my fan base were 18 to 23, 24-year-old males. When you have the youth, the masculine youth of the world, thinking for themselves, that's pretty scary to authority. Because it's the masculine youth of the world that is, one, the revolutionaries, and two, also, that's the backbone of the slave force. If you need people to go die in a ditch in Afghanistan, you need them. If you need people to work bullshit jobs in a coal mine with no health care, you need them. If you need people to blindly comply to bullshit, you need them more than anybody, more than you need the feminists and the liberals. You need the real men to go out there and comply with the bullshit, to live a shitty existence, to purport and prop up a system.
The warrior class.
The warrior class, right? And if enough of these men stand in one place and say, this is enough, that's when a revolution happens. So this is the most dangerous group of the demographic that the Matrix and the people are trying to control, and they have to have a narrative over, and that's why they're trying to weaken them in every regard.
See, that's the clip that I was talking about earlier. It is so incredibly true. That's why I always tell people to watch this documentary. It's a documentary called Agenda 2, Masters of Deceit. You've heard me mention this multiple times. You have to watch Agenda 2, Masters of Deceit, how they're infiltrating the school system with communists and socialists. This country is going. Canada's already there. Look at the prime minister there. The Mexican president, same thing. Same thing is happening here. So they're infiltrating them with a lot of these beliefs on socialism and stuff like that, but also beliefs of weakening the man and weakening the man and weakening the man, right? And because they can't have somebody. Tate took off like this. He took off like overnight. This dude, the whole world knew who this guy was.
Well, he's been out for like his channel like 6-7 years already. That's crazy.
Because he had a great business model, right? He had an affiliate model. He says, "Hey man, pay this much money monthly, and you get access to learning how to make money in a bunch of different ways." And one of the ways that he taught people to make money is by sharing his stuff and creating YouTube channels and TikToks and whatnot, right? And monetize them and making money. And he's one of those very interesting figures where he's interesting. He's super, I think he's mentally very agile. The guy is witty. The guy is fast. He's a Renaissance man. One of the best ways to describe this guy, in my opinion, is a Renaissance man, but he's also witty. He's confident. He's in his peak of life. Yeah. And he has so much influence so fast, they said, hey man, look at Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is one of those necessary people. I think Russell Brand is also one of those people, but this guy took off like this, and they said, before he gets more popular, more support from bigger people, we should cancel him now, because he's true. If enough masculine men get to think for themselves and make a stand and say, no, this is bullshit, we're not going to comply, this is ridiculous. The first, as you mentioned, freedom of speech, gone. Now what are they trying to do? They're trying to take the guns away here in America. Why? Why were the guns put there in the first place? They were put there in the first place. You know why? To defend yourself from government. Not only from, an attacker or something like that, but also from the government. The government ever try to impose on your rights, you're able to defend yourself.
Right to bear arms.
He talks about that. And it's very true. The people that are following him are people that are realizing, oh snap, this guy's talking a lot of truth. My common sense, I'm getting to think for myself. And a lot of things that he says is very true. And guess what? That's not good for the establishment. That's not good for their business model. That's not good for their agenda and what they're trying to accomplish. So what do? You weaken the men. And that's what's happening. So it's very sad. But that clip, when he said that, I was like, this is not, nobody's really coming. Because here's the thing. Most people don't have the balls to say it. A lot of people that have big voices, They know this, but they don't go out there and say it. They're too scared to say it.
Did you think, watching with Patrick, what did you think of Patrick's reaction to a lot of the stuff that he was saying? He was very like focused, but he also, to me, it seemed like he was also kind of biased because he just doesn't want to get deplatformed either, right? He just doesn't want to be banned either. So he doesn't want to take. So he was very careful. Did you notice that he was very careful with what he would say?
Yep.
And he neither agreed or disagreed either. Like he was hitting on some points as well. But yeah, Patrick doesn't want to go down that road either.
He doesn't want to go down the road, but I think he did a fairly decent job still. It's uncensored. He let Tate say whatever he had to say.
Yeah,
they had a 5-hour conversation, so I can respect that.
I still haven't watched the whole thing.
A lot of people, look at Joe Rogan. He won't even have Trump on it. I think, for example, I love Joe Rogan. I listen to Joe Rogan. I've been a fan of his before he blew up. The thing about Joe is anybody that gets as big as Joe, bro, they know a lot more than they let on. You don't get to that level of elite without somebody at the very least telling you, here's the deal, you got to pump the brakes on certain things. There's shit, evil shit. We live in an evil world, way more evil than people can comprehend. From the royal family to the politicians here to the people in the White House, that's a whole nother story. I won't get into it here. They know significantly more than they let on. There's a lot of conversations that he's had, especially with Alex Jones and with Eddie Bravo, Joe Rogan, that he knows a lot more than he lets on. But here's the deal. I've said it for years. Business is business and Christmas is Christmas, man. At the end of the day, I mean, what's Joe make? Fuck. Tens of millions a year, right? So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But he still, so he does a good job of he puts on different views on there. And I respect that about him, big time.
Yeah.
So,
did you see Tucker Carlson's interview with?
I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw part of
that one too.
Yeah.
I mean, he said a bunch of the same stuff, but Tucker also, I do like Tucker.
Yeah, me too.
And the way he also listens to you. He brings out, and then he's not like for the agenda either.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Really
So
interview.
let's take a look at this other video and give our thoughts on it. Let's see.
I was trying to say women need to protect themselves and bear some responsibility to make sure they don't put themselves in situations where bad things can happen to them easily. I'd like to think that's a pretty logical point. No. Andrew said rape's fine. Andrew said it's women's fault. I didn't say that.
What did you think about this clip right here, where he said that women need to, be held, take responsibility for? Well, the clip that went viral was they need to take responsibility on because they got raped or something like that, right? But he just cleared it up right now. What do you think?
It could be taken out of context, big time, bro. And that's one of the most dangerous things. I'll give you an example about getting things taken out of context. I have a friend who was dating this girl, and the girl said to him, "Hey, are you?" She had money, and she says to him, her family had money, right? She says to him, "So why are you with me then? Are you only with me because my family has money?" He says, and at this time he was tired of her shit. He says, "Hey man, think whatever you want. I'm not engaging in this conversation with you anymore." He was done arguing. He was a logical person that kept his composure. Yep. She was illogical, if that's even a word, right? And emotional. There's the logic and the emotional side. Women do tend to be more on the emotional side. This is a fact. I don't give a damn who disagrees. This is a fact. They tend to be more emotional than men. Are there emotional men too? Of course there is. The point is this. He says he was already done with her bullshit. And by the way, I can attest that woman would always accuse him of shit like that. I remember one time we were in a pool party and she was mentioning, she kind of threw in his face how he borrowed money from somebody, from me as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And in front of other people. It's like, why the fuck would you say something like that? Yeah. So the point is, he told her, think whatever you want. She calls her mom and says this, "Do you know what, I won't mention his name, what so-and-so just said? He said that he's only with me because my family has money." Is that what he said? No. She said those words. He said, think whatever you want. I don't want to argue with you. Sure, think whatever you want. I'm done arguing with you. I'm not going to engage in this conversation anymore. So the narrative she spins to her mom is this. What do you think the mom thinks? And what do you think the mom, from an emotional standpoint, the mom probably also got emotional. This guy looks like the worst fucking person in the world when that wasn't even the fucking case. The funny thing is that she kept bugging him about putting a ring on the finger, putting a ring on the finger, putting a ring on the finger. They have been together for years. He never put a ring on the finger. If he was really in it for money, wouldn't he put a ring on the finger?
Of course.
Of course.
Marry into the family.
The shit doesn't make any sense. That's my point about how they change the narrative.
Yeah.
Most people are too dumb to realize, dude, these people are the same media that told you this many people died from this disease. Once you get this secret sauce, you can't get the illness. Turned out they were lying. You could get it. Matter of fact, they get it even more. Then they said, oh no, what we mean is you can't transmit it. They lied. You could transmit it. And I think that they transmit it even more. Then they said, no, my bad. We were wrong about you can't get it. We were wrong. We didn't mean you can't get it. We didn't mean you can't transmit it. We meant that if you get it, you can't die from it. They were fucking wrong. They could die from it. And there's a negative side effects of getting that secret sauce, right? The other thing is you could still get it, you could still transmit it, you could still die from it, but you can't get the negative effects. If you get it, you could transmit it, blah, blah, blah. The point is, the same people that lie to you over and fucking over, right, are the same people that are creating this narrative, and people still believe this shit. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So when he's saying this, what he said got taken out of context, and I'm glad that he's doing this so people can see, like, that's not what he really said. I've had people say things that I said completely taken out of context, right? If you switch one word, Tony Robbins talks about this. He says, if you say, Johnny bit the dog, you'd be like, what the hell? Johnny bit the dog. Let's say this baby Johnny. Johnny bit the dog. Ha ha ha. But now you change the sequence of the words, the placing of the words. The dog bit Johnny. Everybody's going to be up in arms. What? The dog bit the baby? You just switch from here to here. Boom. Makes it completely different. That's what people don't realize. And the establishment, they don't want somebody like him. They don't want people like him to speak truth. So what do? They shut him down. Where's freedom of speech in this country? Okay, he got shut down in China. Let's say, for example, he got shut down in another country. But what about America? Because there's only one side that's not going to get shut down. Hey, talk good about this side and you're good. You talk bad about us and you get too much attention, we're going to shut you down. That's not fucking fair. And life isn't fair, but that's the world that we live in. So I'm glad that he cleared it up. He was clearly saying, hey, listen, it's not what it was. You should take responsibility. I agree. Women should take responsibility. Men should take responsibility. We all have to take responsibility. And I don't think what he said was bad. Again, it was taken out of context.
Another thing he said too was that a man has authority over his woman, some sort of authority over his woman, right? What are your thoughts on that? Like you're married, right? You, from a married man to a single man. I'm single, so when it's that you own, not like you own your woman's not property,
right.
but that you have some form of authority. Like, do you believe in that? Is that something that you agree?
I do believe in that to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I have some sort of authority with my wife. My wife has some authority with me. And we also look at things from a biblical point of view.
Okay.
The Bible is very simple. It says that the man is the head of the household.
Yeah.
The man is to be responsible to God, and the woman to God and to the husband.
Yeah.
I need to obey God, and she needs to obey me. The reason why it works with this is because I lead my family in a good direction. For example, I'm very blessed that I don't have vices like drinking, like gambling, like going out and partying. I work. My wife knows where I'm at. I take care of my kids. I take them to jiu-jitsu. We pray. I pay for their Christian school. I take care of my wife. All of her needs are taken care of. If somebody breaks into the house, guess who's going to be the person that's going to go and deal with that? I'm going to deal with them. I don't expect my wife to deal with it. Oh, all this equality bullshit. No, fuck no. Excuse my language, but if somebody breaks into my house, guess what? I'm going to get my wife back. I'm going to run towards fucking danger. Same thing with cops. People keep talking about this bullshit about the left is the one that's promoting, the cops, the cops. And what do they show? You want to find bad cop videos? You can find them. You want to find good cop videos? Guess what?
Rare.
You can find them too, right? Good cop videos, right?
They're there.
Yeah. But so what happens is they push this narrative that it's bad. Guess what? Let's talk about bad cops and good cops, and let's also talk about toxic masculinity, right? Okay? He mentions on one of the videos, if you are getting assaulted by some thugs, masculine thugs, right? Yes, granted, that's a bad example of masculinity, right? Some bum that wants to take from you, right? But who are you gonna call? You're gonna call the police. You're gonna call a masculine police to come and handle the situation. They're gonna run towards the violence. They're gonna run towards the danger. But why? Because it fits a narrative to weaken and weaken and weaken. If you demonetize the police,
Defund, yeah.
that makes it weaker and weaker. Why do you think that's happening? A lot of police officers are realizing this is bullshit. I don't get paid enough for this, right? So anyways, I kind of went off on a different thing. So that is my beliefs about it. So yes, when my wife very often says, hey babe, what do you think of us going to dinner here? If I say, let's try this other restaurant, my wife usually says, okay, yeah, that's fine, right? If we are planning a trip, she asks me, when are we coming back? When are we going? When are we coming back? Right? She might give me her opinions here and there, but for the most part, I mention when things are going, this is a relationship that we have that makes her happy, makes me happy, and also because of I'm the one that works. So I have to be back by a certain time. My wife, and I've also proven to my wife and my family that I'm a leader, that I can lead this family. My woman doesn't want to be the leader. She wants me to lead, and she wants to support me in that leading. Which is, and when I see some of the most successful families, that's how they are. I know some couples that the woman tries to be like the man, and guess what? They're not very happy. Neither are. The kids see the arguments. She wants to be that dominant figure. Boom, 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 and those tend to have a lot more divorces. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with kids. You know who the most unhappy kids are? Undisciplined kids. You look at kids that are throwing a fit and crying like a mug. They're undisciplined kids. My son is 8 years old. Not once in his life has he thrown a fit. Not once. Like, let's say he wants me to buy him something and I say, no, we're not going to buy that, son. Not once did he start crying, throwing a fit about that shit. Not once in my life. That's not an exaggeration. Not once. You know why? Because he's fucking disciplined. If he says, like, he'll play video games for 1 hour every 3 days. He watches 1 hour of TV per day. He trains 5 days per week. And he's happy. He's happy. We just came back from Vegas for 2 days. We went Friday, came back Sunday, went to watch the UFC fights live. When we come back, he's hugging and kissing mommy and daddy because he loves us so much, because he misses so much, because that discipline makes people happy. Not only kids, but adults as well. The most unhappy kids are undisciplined kids. The most unhappy adults, and guess what, are undisciplined adults. They don't like how they look. They don't like how they feel. They don't like the way their body looks, their health, their income, the money in the bank. They're not fulfilled. You know why? Because that is a residual effect of the things that you did or didn't do. Your lack of discipline or your discipline. It's the bottom line.
With discipline, okay? So I was in a relationship, long time relationship, and one of the things that we always fought about was in our bad times, right? We had arguments and discussions. I had mentioned that I have to be a disciplined man to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
It turns out it didn't sit so well with her. She went off the handle and was saying, like, why do you have to be disciplined, and why do you why can't it come natural? And it's not that, to me, it's not that it doesn't come natural. It's that regardless, anyone should be disciplined to anything, right? You would agree. You have to be a disciplined man to be in a relationship, right? So what do you think? That's not a bad thing.
Of course not.
I feel like I'm very disciplined.
Look, for sure, my opinion is you have to be disciplined. And there's a little bit of context missing, right? Let's say, for example, you say, I have to be disciplined. So I work all day, then I get home, then I go to the gym, and I don't ever see you, I don't ever spend any time with you, and I don't answer your phone calls, and I would see why a woman would have a problem with that, right?
Yeah.
But there's some women, and I've noticed as I have a friend who works out, his woman wants him to work out at the same gym that he does. She only goes to the gym once or twice a week.
Yeah.
But she wants to go to keep an eye on him, right? And I kind of make fun of him, and I'm like, bro, you let it get to that point, because you will train your kids and your woman how to treat you. You will train your people in your company, in your sales organization, your employees, how to treat you. How you let them treat you, you're training them what you are willing to allow. Same thing with a woman. You let a man talk down to you, beat you, hit you, guess what? You're training him what's okay, and you're training him how to treat you. Now, let's say somebody want to take my shit out of context. They'd only mention what I said about the man and a woman, and they say, look at it, this guy's a misogynistic prick, and blah, blah, blah. But they don't mention that I just mentioned that a woman needs to also have that discipline, respect herself, and train her man how to treat her to let him know what's acceptable for her and what's not acceptable. See?
Yeah.
So what do you think if like CNN or you know, one of these left, you know, media outlets would try to chop things up for me? They'd only chop up that thing and not the other thing. So anyways, we train people how to treat us. Same thing with our kids. You ever see kids talk bad to their parents? My son not once has ever fucking done that. He would never do that. You know why? Because I didn't train him to. I train him how to be a good boy, how to be disciplined, how to have Jesus in his heart.
Yeah. One of the things you also brought up was leadership, right? Your wife obviously sees you as a leader. You're the head of household, right? I saw this video a long time ago, and it kind of resonated with me because it goes back to you know, being in a relationship. Well, as me, right? It's if a woman doesn't see you as she doesn't want to follow your lead.
Yes.
She doesn't see you as a fit leader.
Right.
Therefore, that's probably something that you don't want to be a part of. I personally don't want to be a part of. I want to be able to say, and that's not to say like have this kind of like toxic masculinity.
Right.
It's just to say that, you know, I want to like follow my lead. Trust me.
Yes.
Hear me out.
Yep.
Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. You know, not like, you know, I demand this and I demand that. No, like listen to me.
Yes.
Take my lead here. I'm gonna guide you. A lot of women don't want to do that.
Right.
And I think that's something that I have a problem with. Especially being like a Leo or whatever, being fiery type. You know, I feel it's still something that women should learn to do to have a healthy relationship, is let your man lead. That's why, and that I see that with Jennifer.
Yeah.
You know, she sees you are a fit leader, so she's going to take your lead.
Yeah. You know, on the Fresh and Fit podcast, they talked about this. Those guys at Fresh and Fit talk about this, and so does Andrew Tate. And they say a woman is, and a man has to become. What does that mean? And it's very true. That means that a woman, let's say, for example, you take a woman from 18 to 45 years old, but especially 18 to 30, 35, right? In their peak age for a woman, as far as attractiveness, is right around that age, right? Now, these days, there's more exceptions, right? These days, we see women that are older and stuff, and it's like, you know, because of, you know, surgeries and whatnot. But the point is, they say a woman doesn't have to go out there and accomplish major success, status, network, none of that stuff. She just has to be hot, has to be good looking, and she automatically is. A man, that's not the case with a man. A man has to become that person that's attractive by becoming successful, becoming a person of influence, becoming a person with a network, right? And so that's the truth. Some men will say, well, that sucks. And men do say that. That sucks. That's unfair. It is unfair, but guess what? That's the world that we live in. It's unfair to men. It's a lot more fair to women. For example, if a man is a millionaire, right, and he dates a girl that's, you know, let's say 23, and this guy's 35, and he dates a girl that's 23 because she's beautiful and he likes her and he enjoys her company, he's not really going to care about the income that she has, but she might care about his income.
And they want equality.
And they want equality, exactly, right? Now, on the contrary, let's say, for example, you're a 23-year-old guy, and you meet a girl that's 27 or 30 years old, and she's attractive, but you don't got it going on.
No.
She's not going to look at you, man. It's just the world that we live in, right?
Yeah.
There is no equality in that sense either, but it is what it is. So when it's funny when they say that to me. So the point is, yes, it's the world that we live in. A woman is going to respect a man more that has his shit together. Not only his shit together with business, with his confidence, with the way he carries himself, with what he's willing to accept and not willing to accept. I'm very blessed. I'm very happy that I've got my beautiful wife, our kids. We love and respect each other. But if I was single, for example, I would not settle for a woman that doesn't value God above all, for me. Value God, respect herself. I wouldn't date a girl that's on Instagram, you know, taking a selfie every other day. That's not the kind of woman that I would want to be with. No freaking way. A woman that's at the gym showing her butt, even though I may find that attractive, if I see a girl that wants that much attention, that's not my type of woman. That's just personally not me. And when I would find that woman, I would say, this is what is it you're looking for? Find out. Here's what I'm looking for as well. And I'm not going to compromise on my standards. I have standards, I have morals that I'm not going to compromise in. And yeah, it may be hard to take longer time to find that ideal mate. And in the meantime, you know, I would suggest for a single guy to date till you find that perfect person, but don't compromise on your standards would be my, you know, and it's easier not to compromise on those standards when you pay the price and get your act together. Now you've got choices. You could go, you become the high value man, which think about it. One of the things that Andrew Tate talks about, which is very true. Men are invisible. Most men are invisible. Women get, you know,
easy.
even a woman that's not very good looking, she gets a bunch of DMs. Instagram changed the game. Men, they could send a bunch of DMs and they might even get read, maybe a few of them. But so that person has to go out there and become a person that makes it happen. Here's the thing though, you could grow your confidence. You could grow your income. You could grow yourself as a person. It takes time. You need to have that season separation. I remember after a breakup, I went to a breakup and I felt like shit. And instead of calling her, because I felt like calling her, this is like, you know, 2006 or something. Instead of calling her and bugging her, I said, I'm going to disappear. My friends are not going to see me for a year, or depends how long it takes. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I'm going to focus on my business. I'm going to become successful. And it took me longer than a year. But then when I reemerged again, I reemerged as a different person because I realized then I have to become. And I remember sometimes one girl stopped dating me, started dating some other dude that wasn't, I thought I was a better looking guy than that guy. I thought I was a better guy overall than that dude, but that dude had more money than me. Therefore, he was more confident too. And the girl responded to that much better than they responded to me. I was some broke dude. Then I got my shit together, right? Got my confidence up, my self-esteem up, my income up, and I respected myself more. My standards went up. Later on, she wanted to date me. We went on a couple dates again, and then after that, I didn't call her anymore. But yes, it's true that.
Did you seek revenge?
No, I didn't seek revenge. We went out, enjoyed each other's company 2 days the same weekend. And then after I decided not to call her anymore, I didn't promise her I was going to call her or anything like that. And, you know, later on I heard her tell a friend that told me, one of her friends told me, yeah, man, she was expecting you to call her. And she said, what an asshole, huh? He didn't call me, man. We just went out a couple of times. I was like, yeah, but I never promised her I was going to call her. Right? I was single. There was no, you know, but that also wasn't the kind of person that I wanted to be with anymore.
True.
It was almost like a little bit of revenge without me trying to get revenge. You know, I wasn't trying to get it. Yeah.
That happened to me too, though.
Yeah.
Like back then, I didn't have my shit together. I was struggling. I was working paycheck to paycheck. I was working. This was like back like 10 years ago. Paycheck to paycheck. I couldn't keep a steady job.
Yeah.
And I was living with grandma and this chick I liked. I was very interested in. I met her at the gym. And I mean, I wasn't trying to hide who I was, but she didn't give me the time of day because of that, right? Because of that. And then now things have changed drastically.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I was seeking revenge.
Yeah. Listen, sometimes that's a big motivation, man.
Yeah. I'll show her.
Yeah, exactly. Having a chip on your shoulder, having a chip on my shoulder, for me, helped me out a lot.
I got a boulder.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. So I've had a chip on my shoulder for a long time, and honestly, I personally build better with a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, some basketball player. It's a reel that's going viral right now. He says, I remember what you said about me. I remember what you were wearing when you doubted me. I remember what you were saying. I remember exactly where we were. I remember exactly how the scenario was when you didn't believe in me and when you said that I wouldn't be successful. And I've had that philosophy for a long time. Some people make.
You told him, or he told
No.
me?
This is a NBA player that said this. It's a viral that's going.
Okay.
I
think you said that about you were playing basketball. One of your friends had asked you to play basketball, and you chose not to. You went because you were all dressed up. You went to work.
Yeah,
instead.
that's a whole nother story. Yes.
Okay.
But I think it was Steph Curry that said this. I'm not sure who said it. It's a reel that right now is going viral. And he says, basically he's talking about how he has a chip on his shoulder. He says, I remember what they said, those that didn't believe me, what they said, where we were, what they were wearing when you said it, boom, boom, boom. So I think to a certain degree, building your business, your career, whatever it is that you're doing with a chip on your shoulder, for me personally, it's helped me out a lot. I wanted to create this episode, Jay, and I definitely want us to shoot it again. There's so much content, and we went a little bit longer than I wanted us to. But we're going to have to do like three more of these episodes to really cover a lot of these subjects that we want to cover.
Yeah.
Right. So
I agree.
Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, man, and make sure you guys follow Jay. His information is going to be on the video, and you're going to see a lot more of Jay because he and I, he helps me with Video Cartel. That's who does the editing for our videos, and super sharp guy, good friend of mine. So you're going to see a lot more of us, and we're going to be doing a lot of these podcast episodes, both of us talking about some of these subjects. So we'll catch you guys on the next episode. See you guys at the top, from the top. Take care.
Peace out.